when the voter integrity question came up, why was it necessary to go to court and have a judge make for transparency of all the questions that were asked about the machines, about the counting of who was doing what? Why was it necessary to go to court, to waste the time and to waste the money that it took to bring the information out?
All right.
Mr. Reisner has already heard this comment, let's kill all the lawyers. It was necessary because the lawyers got involved. And what
Enough lies.
The reality is we had an opinion from our county attorney, which was then reinforced by the Secretary of State, that said that database was not a public record. In order for it to be released as a public record, we needed to have a court decision. We got that court decision, we released those records. That was done in January, and then recently we released the entire 1,100, I think, plus that they wanted. But, you know, in hindsight, this should have never been adversarial, and I believe, if I'm, at least the information I have, which has been verified, is we offered to actually turn over those records in a secured environment as opposed to being a public record to the parties, to the major political parties. And that was not, the Democratic Party didn't find that acceptable. I'm not quite sure I understand why, but I agree, I wish we didn't have to have gone to court, but based on the legal opinion we got, and that was reinforced by the Secretary of State's office, we felt, the majority of the board felt we had no choice.
Voting records are public information.
Let's be quiet, please.
The issue is correct in terms of the opinion that we received, both in terms of the Secretary of State, but it's also important to examine what history we have. The Democratic Party came to us and said our touchscreen machines were open and susceptible to tampering. You know what we did? We worked together and we came up with the most secure system, both in terms of physical security, that we could come up with in the country. The second step to that was that there were 10 points that the party came to us and asked us to do subsequent to that. We did 9 of them. We did 9 of them without flinch. The only reason we did what we did was simply because, hey, maybe we got bad advice. But the truth of the matter is that we were, please, I've respected you, I expect the same respect. And so the truth of the matter is we do have a history of working together. There's this one issue that unfortunately required this. Sharon was right. We did turn them over in January. We subsequently turned over more.
But those were public records to begin with.
Maurice, please.
And we have established a policy for continuing to do that. This is not an easy issue. Part of the issue simply is that there's a lot more information in that table, or that database, than just the tabulation database. There are some things that the Secretary of State felt were significant security risks. But quite frankly, she hasn't stepped up to the plate, and she's part of the reason why we were forced to do what we did. And as a result of that, you saw some action in the last board meeting where we have actually gone and done some things that she has some issues with simply because we're tired of being the scapegoats on it.
I think he was going to get
Of course, many of you know this is the issue that got me involved. Until January of this year, I was a superdelegate. I had a chance to go to the convention. I'd never been to a nominating convention before. And when I came to the first Board of Supervisors meeting after the 3.5-day trial with Judge Michael Miller, I was hoping that since he had decided in our favor, I was hoping that there would be like a light dawning, and that early in the meeting we would hear that the supervisors agreed to this. It didn't happen.
Right.
It didn't happen. In fact, it was a long, drawn out, many speakers pleading, and still there was no decision made that day. January 8th, check the minutes, because I sat in the audience and went, oh my God, I have to give up my seat to the convention because this cannot go unchallenged. What Ramon says about the improvements that the county has made in election security, absolutely correct. I must say that they've been very open about the suggestions of the Election Integrity Committee, and we have some very techie experts and some people from the National Security Agency that really came forward with things that I think were practical and doable and didn't cost the sky. So that's great, and we need to keep moving forward in that vein. And I think when we strengthen the management in the elections division to a professional level, that we'll be there.
This is very interesting. My background, I'm not sure if all of you know that. I worked for E-Trade, an online bank and brokerage firm, as a business analyst and a programmer. And you guys were trying to protect SQL statements, which count the ballots. It's ridiculous. They didn't need to be protected. But yet you let Brian Crane take home CDs with the votes on it. The Democratic Party to have a secured system to look at the same data? Why? That's not right. I mean, if you're going to have a secure system, it should be secured. And those voting machines are not secure. And that's been well known, but you still bought them. The Democratic Party told you don't buy them, but you wouldn't listen. You wouldn't even take a meeting with them. And that's another concerned citizen trying to give you a little bit of advice. I'm proud to be a Democrat, and I'm proud that the Democratic Party took you to court to make you give up the data.